Hello, I'm Wendy Wilson, and I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Realizing Potential. We have so many gems here at Albany State University, and a few of them are hidden, but we're working to bring them to the light. My guest today is certainly one of those hidden gems that I recently discovered. She is a published author, and she also makes wonderful things happen in our Division of Enrollment Management. But I will not delay this wonderful moment. Miss Kennedy Tiller, how are you today?
Hi, I'm happy to be here.
It is my pleasure to have you here. Share with the viewers a little bit about yourself, your background, your history with Albany State University, and then we'll segue into your published works.
Yes, ma'am. So I am Kennedy Tiller. I attended Albany State my dual enrollment year of high school, so my senior year of high school. And I continued to attend this university for 2 years before transferring to Georgia State University. And I just graduated from Georgia State with speech communication and rhetoric, minoring in communication sciences disorders. It's a mouthful. And I graduated top of my class, summa cum laude. And now I'm back here working as an academic advisor.
Outstanding. Well, we're glad to have you back here at Albany State University for 1001 reasons. I'm curious, you're decided what was your interest or your passion to pursue that discipline of communications?
Yes, ma'am. So oddly enough, I changed my major like 7 times in college. I almost got shipped off to the military. I almost went to another school other than Georgia State. I was just all over the place. And I just reached to a point during COVID. It's just like, wow, like I need to graduate soon. So we need to choose a major and stick with something. So that's how I ended up with at Georgia State. I just have a thing for speech. And once I looked at what the program included and seeing what jobs I can get, I was like, okay, this seems like something I'm willing to do. And I love it.
Outstanding. And you are in enrollment management currently serving as an academic advisor.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So what's some of the best advice you share in terms of helping? Of course, you're helping our students to who are matriculating to design a career. No, I'm sorry, design an academic plan that will support their career interest. What's some other just general fundamental information or guidance that you provide our students?
Yes, ma'am. So I register students for the courses as well as be a listening ear for them most of the times. A lot of times I'm not the one to give advice. I just sit down and listen to what they have to say. Sometimes you just need somebody to listen to. And when I do actually give advice, of course, I ask them if they believe in God, because with me not being but so much older than them and me just going through what they are currently going through, I know how important it is to have a higher power to go to just navigate through life, because it's hard for me to give them advice on certain things, especially since we don't have the same life experiences. But I know that God, especially if they believe in Him, He can take care of it.
Yeah, what I love that you shared is that the transparency as it relates to you were in that COVID window, as we all were
Yes.
traumatized by that, and having to navigate that, particularly academically, and then not sure as to what you want to do. Because I know so many that happens to undergraduate students all the time. You're navigating through life, and it's the first time that you have a significant amount of independence, leaving your home and having to make some key in life decisions. And one of them is, what am I going to major in? So thank you for that level of transparency. That is so normal. I'm sure that was compounded times 10 because we were also going through the pandemic. So you survived it, as so many students successfully have done. Congratulations on cum laude status. That's quite impressive. And then also being dual enrollment. So certainly you don't shy away from doing what you need to do as it relates to academics. But one of the main reasons that I wanted to have this conversation with you was walking down the hall, and a mutual colleague of ours was sharing a book. She is also an avid reader, and we were discussing that. And it's in my to be read pile and looking forward to indulging in that. But as I was preparing to leave, she says, "Oh, and have you read Kennedy Tiller's work?" And I said, "I don't know who she is." And so she proceeded to share with me what you've done in a short period of time as it relates to Albany State, and then also made time to become a published author. So tell us a little bit about this creative outlet that you have as it relates to writing and the published piece that I look forward to reading.
Yes, ma'am. So I self-published two poetry books during my college career. The first book name is Freshman Year Singing the Same Song. It's a poetry journal. And the second work that I just released in December, I think, is called Eve. It's a poetry book. So I've been writing since I can remember, and my writing style is a bit different. I'm more of a free writer per se. I just write based off my feelings and emotions, and then I organize the books accordingly.
So what was, tell me, without giving too much away, because we want all of the viewers to hurry to whatever their preferred merchant is to go and purchase your book. So what was the inspiration? I'm curious to know particularly about the book. I'm struck, not struck, but intrigued by the title Eve. And so what was the inspiration, or what was your state of emotion at that particular time that caused you to say, let me take pen to paper? If that's, or you may be a computer girl. There's a big age difference. You can tell I'm old school, so pen and paper is my preferred method.
Yes, ma'am. So, how I come up with mostly all my poems, unless I'm writing for somebody specifically for an occasion, I just start typing on my phone. How I came up with Eve, um, when I first started writing Eve, I was just transitioning into adulthood for real. I had just moved off to Atlanta to go to Georgia State. I was on my own during the pandemic, all alone. All my classes were online, so I really didn't interact with anybody except going to the grocery store. So what did I do? I turned to Netflix. So how I came up with the majority of the poems in Eve is by watching Netflix shows and becoming one of the characters in the shows and spinning off on whatever that character was going through. So Eve is an interpretation of love, lust, power, friendships, and it just explores a wide range of emotions. So I organized the book starting off with love, then progressing into love, then to self-love, then to true love, which is God's love. And I also gave some of my views of American society and just the rest of the poems that didn't come from Netflix inspiration, they were just me just freestyling. Yes,
I
ma'am.
I love that because I'm sure if individuals were not familiar with Netflix, we certainly became familiar with it during the pandemic, and I totally agree. There was that need to escape reality because if you were stayed in the news cycle, which was 24 hours, 7 days a week, that could easily send you spiraling, going down the rabbit hole, if you will, because it was just, constant. And I understood that. But for our mental health and wellness, you also needed that means of escape, escaping reality. So Netflix, I'm sure, was very popular for many individuals. I love that you took it a step further. You were not just an observer of Netflix. You said, now, how can I connect with an identified character and then morph that? And then it sounds like also apply that to the world that you were familiar with. So I certainly look forward to that. How many poems are in the actual book?
Yes, ma'am. So in Eve is 69 poems.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
And then the journal, the your first book that you authored, I assume, and you please correct me if I'm wrong, and further share, is that an opportunity for those that might be inspired to write poetry or to just document their thoughts?
So it's a poetry journal. So almost like a poetry diary per se.
Ah,
So how I came up with that book, it started out as a chapbook, less than 40 pages, if I'm not mistaken. And What happened was it was my senior year. I had a summer fling with a guy, and essentially it left me brokenhearted. Well, at least I thought I did at that moment. But really, truly, honestly, in hindsight, reading the book, it was just my truest and rawest feelings and emotions. Just being a college student, not going off to school, staying at home with my mom, and just being lonely, going through a season of isolation, and just having unmet expectations as it pertains to the social side of college. That's what the book was about. Just me turning to earthly things versus me turning to God. It was almost like a duality thing, a conflicted soul with my mind, per se.
Hmm. Which makes sense. Many people have those experiences. That's all a part of entering into adulthood and experiencing new relationships, and all of them don't work out well, but all of them work for our development and to continue to grow. So it sounds like you were able to take that away, and I keep going back to that. Those 2 years were, I'm sure, people will be talking about that long after you and I have made our transition, because of the whole, the as you mentioned, the isolation piece. And we were the only connectivity that we had. Of course, we had to be masked up, but we were limited in terms of our engagement was, through a phone. So when you said that you wrote your book on your phone, because have heard a lot of success stories have taken place as a result of, this handheld computer that we have. But the point that I'm trying to make is that under normal circumstances, pre-COVID, the whole collegiate experience can bring its a set of challenges, and then have to shift where we are totally isolated, and then having to learn so many things for the first time. I'm sure was a very daunting experience for so many. So I'm so thankful and appreciative that you and thousands of other students were able to come out of that, different, but no worse for the wear, and able to take those experiences, learn from them, and apply them as you move forward in life.
Yes, ma'am.
So I would like to know what are your plans as it relates to the literary world? Is this just who you are, a writer and a writer of poetry? Is there more on the horizon for you? You have this amazing communications background that I'm sure you're able to weave into your current role. But what does life look like for you in the next 5 to 10 years as it relates to your writings?
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to answer your question. I just wanted to say that freshman year was written in 2018 and 2019, pre-COVID. So
Okay, gotcha. Okay, thank
pre-COVID.
you.
Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
for the
Yes, ma'am.
clarification. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. But as it goes for me and my outlook on life and where I can see myself going, I see myself having more interviews like how I'm on the phone with you right
I
now.
love
I'm
it.
so excited about this. On Saturday, I'm going to be at Rabbit's Man's end of the year extravaganza, just selling my books and promoting myself. I also record videos and upload them to YouTube, spoken word videos. And just recently, the class of 78 of Doherty High allowed me to share some poems with them and really just allow me to share some of my more non-conventional poems with them. So as far as it goes with how my life will end up 5 years from now, I honestly don't know. I just know that God is really gonna put me out there one day. I have dreams about it. I've always known that my life, as far as it goes with my poetry, is gonna be good. And I'm really just excited to see how far I can go with my speaking. If I can do motivational speaking, I have a poetry business actually. I can write for people, for weddings, and just do speeches. So I'm just excited and just patiently waiting to see what God's going to do for me and see how He's going to work through me.
I love that. Well, you have a very calming presence, and I love your confidence. It is there, but it is not overpowering.
Thank you.
It's very distilled, if you will. I absolutely love that, especially for the age range that I assume that you're in. You have such a beautiful baby face.
Thank you.
And I'm connecting the dots. So I'm assuming you're early to mid 20s, somewhere in that age range.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Okay, so I've got two things. One is a question. I'll get to that, but you are going to the Rabbit Man Affair this weekend. So will you let the proprietor know that you are also an alum and of Albany State University, the dual enrollment? Because I was in there yesterday and he hurt my feelings because I wanted him to do two things with two pairs of shoes, and one he said you need to throw this pair away. And I was like, no. So that was the one disappointment. And the other one, he said, yeah, I can't dye those. So, but I left there. In addition to being disappointed, he gave me an assignment. He said, we need some representation from Albany State at this particular event. So let him know that you are a graduate. And if you could, I'm giving you an assignment, if you could help do some recruitment for us there and showcase to the world why the great contributions that Albany State made in your life and that you are certainly giving back, not only in the literary space, but certainly in the role that you serve here for Albany State. The question that I have for you, ma'am, is who do you look to in terms of just great authors that inspire you? And they can, be outside of the poetry realm, but who do you find yourself gravitating to? And then what is some of their famous works?
Right. So as it goes with poetry, because for me personally, I'm more of an audiobook person and
Okay.
a music person. Not all music is poetry, but a lot of artists do have works that are like poetry to my ears, honestly. So, but I love Langston Hughes. Some of my favorite works by him are Mother to Son and To Artina. Those poems are nice. And author wise, not necessarily poetry. It's this lady called Dr. Sheila Thomas. She wrote this book, The Wait, and she also has children books as well. But that book, The Wait, I listened to it the night before graduation actually, and it was a really good book about life. And my books are about life, so I tend to gravitate towards people that talk about real life and not necessarily things that fall under the social realm.
So my eyes lit up because I know Dr. Sheila Thomas very well. Yes, so she is also our beloved soror. So always excited to engage with her on because of that mutual love that we all share. But Dr. Thomas was here at Albany State and has certainly made some great contributions in the literary world, and just I'm just so excited about what awaits her as it relates to her continued contributions. But we sorely miss her. I know she's doing great things in the Valdosta area. So I am not surprised that that is one of your inspirations. So we'll have to share this video with her because I know she will be proud of the work that you are currently doing. Are you writing something now that we can expect a publication in the near future?
So I write all the time. Like I said, I write based off my feelings and my emotions. So whenever I'm feeling some type of feeling, I write. As far as it goes with what's next for me, uh, I don't know when the next book is coming. I honestly don't know. With me just graduating and just getting adjusted to
Yeah.
the work world, it's taken me a moment to get into this, but once I find my happy medium, I feel like now, even now, since I've been on this job for 2 months, I see myself shifting back, not necessarily into my old ways, but being comfortable, just being playful with my words again.
Good. Well, that's
Yes,
good. That means that you're in a good fit. That's what we want to happen here at Albany State. We want it to be an enjoyable experience as it relates to our employees, because that certainly translates to how you then will engage with our students, who are
yes,
our biggest treasure. And with the level of engagement, I know you see them on a daily basis, and it's such a I had a period of time in my career where I was involved with academic advising, and this was pre-consolidation at Darden, and it is a lot. It's a very enriching and rewarding experience when you're providing academic advising, but then reality sometimes will set in, and you're like, I am playing a role with helping to design this individual's life in many respects, and the ability for them to then successfully graduate and then embark upon a career that will be meaningful. And so it's a lot when you wrap your mind around it. But I know you have all of the blueprints and templates before you. But you're right. You're meeting with individuals. They are human beings, and they're bringing a lot to the moment. And some of them don't have the understanding as to what it takes to help to design their own their academic plan and their career, and then sticking to that. So I know you have a lot before you. I know you are doing it well. I love the excitement and the glow that I see emanating from you, and just really super excited about your future. You have some options, and that is what we want to always convey to our students, to design and create a life that provides them with options that they of their choosing. So thank you for demonstrating that on a daily basis. I look forward to reading your book. When you decide, yes, I'm going to go ahead and publish my next, know that you are always welcome to come back on the show to promote that. But thank you so much for your level of transparency today. I love that about you, and you've exampled that I should do more of that in my life. So I wish you continued success, Miss Kennedy Tiller.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Viewers, thank you so much for joining me for this edition of Realizing Potential. I'm Wendy Wilson, and I look forward to seeing you next time.